Hello.
Well,
Welcome
too bad.
to-
I'm just that good.
Welcome to Tuesday. Today, I would say, went pretty good, pretty well. I get up, had a meeting, as is seemingly going to be the pattern for every other Tuesday, which went fairly well.
That's great.
Nothing too interesting there.
Fascinating.
After that, I had the CAD class, which was like a little bit more of just whatever, because the only thing left now is like a final project, which is you get into a group and then
Oh, you
you
completed Noida? Damn.
create a like unique thing that your group is going to do. They had the teacher set out like a set number of groups digitally, and you just join them. And so there was like 5 people who were all mostly in different groups, so I just joined another of the empty groups and started playing around with that. Had psychology. Psychology was, alright. And then, basically, as soon as that class was over, I started biking down to the theater. Made it on time. The event was like led by one of the bioengineering instructors. He like covers like the capstone projects, and he also teaches a couple like the biochemistry classes. And he was a pretty fun guy to talk with. The movie itself was really good. I really liked the Project Hail Mary movie. There is so much that the book does that I adore. Yeah, it is down there. I was gonna see if I could grab the book as a reference, but no, it's down in Witch Cross. But yeah, there was so much in the book that I just adore, and a lot of like little bits of science and whatnot that just like give the book itself so much personality, and that isn't as much a focus for the movie. The movie cares a lot more about the characters, and so it structures some things differently. We get like more involved in the personalities of the characters, and we get obviously to see a lot more of like the visual stuff. Like I knew they changed a couple things immediately when he started walking around on the ship, because the ship design in Project Hail Mary, the book, is very simple. And so obviously in the movie where they expanded a lot more, there's a lot more like interesting things to look at and wander around. It was a good change, I think. A lot of the changes that they did make, I think, served to translate it into a movie very well. I really like that movie. I think though my favorite part is at the very start where they're doing an experiment and they like have to go to Lowe's and get a bunch of stuff, and it's very just improvised almost, and just like collaborating and he's talking with this other guy and they're figuring it out. That was such a fun moment, and that's science is figuring stuff out and doing all this dumb stuff in order to test it and learn things. And there is a lot of fantastic stuff in that movie that I really liked, and that was a great movie. I also ended up seeing a couple of trailers for some other interesting movies. It might be fun later, but definitely like Project Hail Mary has been a pretty big highlight.
Yo.
One thing that I was curious about, and that I was right, is when you're reading the book, when they first introduce Rocky. Rocky is like an alien. They kind of spoiled that in the trailer, so I feel fine talking about that in comparison to a lot of other stuff. But like, when they first introduce Rocky, they talk about a little bit about his clothes, and then they don't only mention it like one other time. And so when you're reading, it's really easy to forget that Rocky is wearing clothing. And clearly the people who did the book also made a similar assumption that I did when I was reading it. Not did the book. What was the... I can't remember the term for creating a rendition of a novel into a movie. I can't remember that term. Adaptation. That's what it is.
So
They made that same assumption, but they made it work really well because of the design of Rocky with like the texture and patterns that they put on his surface. And I thought that was a really cool addition. I must say, having read the book and seen the movie, when you are doing either, you get two different experiences. Like I said before, the movie is a lot more focused on the characters and the visuals and the sound, and those are awesome. But because the book is a book, and it can only teach things in the way that a book can, the one thing you'll get from the book that you cannot get from the movie is just absolute wonder for science. Like, there are so many really cool things they do in order to learn stuff and test things that they cut from the movie because they'd be like their own 10-minute scene, and that would get really long and doesn't feed into the story as much. Basically, what I'm saying is if you like the movie, consider reading the book. And if you haven't done either, definitely watch the movie, because even if you don't enjoy the science, you will enjoy the story that the movie presents. Yeah. All that said, there are a couple of things that are always must be taken care of while I'm up here, so I'm going to go and start working another... Oh, wait, no, there's one other thing I wanted to mention. So I biked down there. That was really easy. It was all downhill. Biking back up was not as fun because it was all uphill, and the last bit is really, really steep. And what I've realized as I'm thinking about, biking, just in general, as the year gets closer to its end and I start making my evil schemes.
Just have one technology that's just way over everybody else's heads at the moment.
Is that my legs are pretty strong. That's fine. My stamina is pretty high. That's also good. My lung capacity is not great. Like, I was getting to the top and I was just breathing super hard, and I could just keep going, but I just had to be constantly breathing, and I feel like I just wasn't taking enough air. And if I can figure out how to get around that, I am probably golden. Just the lung capacity is my weakness. That's, I think, everything that I wanted to say. Like I said, the movie was really cool. I saw trailers for other movies that I also think are fun. Like, I keep seeing trailers for He-Man on my phone, and I kept ignoring them because I didn't know what they were referring to and skipping it. And then when I actually had to see the trailer for He-Man in theater, I realized, oh, that's He-Man, before it pointed it out to me because I recognized a couple of the characters. That looks like a fun movie. That's several months out, we'll see what happens there. Same with, I saw a trailer for The Backrooms, which is something I've kept tabs on for a while. You don't need to know about these. I just think they're neat because I'm thinking about movies, and movies have proven today that they are very cool. I mean, they do that most times I go to a theater, but a very cool movie. So, yeah. Long video. I'm going to go work on other stuff now. You all have a lovely night. Bye-bye.